Hello, my love, and welcome back to the Rebirth Café. I'm so happy that you're here. Get something to drink, lean back, and just listen to what I'm saying. Today, I want to talk about show me your family, and I will tell you who you are. And you might think, what the hell is she talking about? And I want to tell you the way that you have been raised, the way that your family was built, is who you are right now. So the system that you are coming from is the basis that has been built on your personality. Your personality is built on where you're coming from, basically. So whatever you believe in, however you see the world, how you perceive the world, has been built when you were a little child. Because we all see the world differently. That's why we have so many different people, which is a good thing. But we might see the same thing and still perceive it as something totally different. Which means this is your truth, which is not always necessarily my truth or somebody else's truth, but this is your truth. Because the belief that you have about something or someone is the way that you have been raised. It's a shade of how your parents raised you or what you have been hearing since you were a little child. This could be about women, this could be about money, this could be about relationships. And there's also a difference. Have you been raised by a father or a mother? Were you both parents present? Or was your mother emotionally unavailable? Or your father? Were you raised by a single mother, single father? Was there any death in the family of a parent or a sibling? Because your system is so much more than what you think. It's everything about you, basically. And the way that you have been raised is such a exciting and interesting part, because the way how in a systemic world, because you know by now I work as family constellations, because I do believe all the pain and the limiting beliefs and the trauma that you have experienced or endured took place in your childhood and also had an influence on who you are today. So the way that you have been raised is who you are today. That's why I work with family constellations, because we go back to the source. And the source is always the family that you have been raised in. In the systemic world, when you work systemically, it's normally the father, the first place, the mother, the first child, the second child, the third child, and so on. And you have to imagine, if one of the parents, one pillar falls away, something changes. It's the same for a child. So if someone is present physically but emotionally unavailable, most of the time the person who's next to that person takes in that space. And you can imagine by now that this is not how the order should work. A father should be a father, a mother should be a mother, the first child should be the first child. But what we often see is when one of the parents passes away, the next child takes in the place of either the mother who passed away or the father. Or if a sibling died either in the womb or already alive, the child next to that child who passed away is also taking in that step. And often this is not something we do knowingly. It's very much the subconscious that steps in. And that's already where things get a bit difficult and also out of order, because the order of the world is father, mother, first child, and so on. So many children of us, or many other women, took in places, stood up for a place which wasn't theirs in the first place. So maybe if you had an absent father, you made sure that you were that partner for your mother. somebody that maybe takes on the masculine energy. It would be the same if a mother passes away and the firstborn child is a daughter. 9 of 10 cases we see that this little girl becomes a mother unwillingly and maybe subconsciously, but she takes on that step. So whatever happened to you when you were a child, that made you who you are today. And maybe there isn't anything so devastating. Maybe you didn't lose a parent or a sibling, but there is still a certain dynamic, because the way a family is built has always to do with dynamics. What is the dynamic when you're with your parents? How do you react? What for patterns can you see? How are you with your siblings? Because it's with every sibling totally different. The way how you behave with your mother is totally different than how you behave with your father. And that's the dynamic of a family. And we all know by now that everything that you're struggling with right now comes from the period when you were most probably in the age between 0 and 7, because that's when your brain is really like a sponge and everything just gets in. It's actually that phase where you create your reality. Everything that you have seen, everything you have been told, everything you have witnessed has been created and has been put into your brain. And this is then the default you fall back into. So when you have seen your parents argue all the time, that's the moment where you realized maybe it's my father's fault. Or we cannot rely on women. We cannot rely on men. Money is evil. I'm not worth anything. So that's everything that has been created there. And now you're an adult. You're a grown woman. Maybe you're, in your 20s, in your 30s, 40s. Maybe you're an own mother, or you're about to have a baby, or wherever you are right now. The core wound that you have is always the wound that you have been experiencing when you were a little child. We always go back to when did it start and where did it come from? How did it happen and how did it make you feel? And that's where the pain is. This is where the biggest pain for us women is. And most of the time it's always either I'm not worthy enough, I'm not good enough, I haven't been seen or heard, and I wasn't loved enough. And these are most of the time the core beliefs that we women have. Or another one, boundaries. Because we witnessed that maybe our mothers didn't have boundaries. We witnessed other women in our circle that didn't have boundaries. So whatever you're experiencing right now as a grown, beautiful woman, and the pain that you are feeling is something that happened in your childhood. And when you have a partner or not, or friendships, relationships, partnership, whatever you have right now, whatever is activating you, this is your core wound. And I know it goes really deep, because I've been there. I have been where you are right now. And it hurts. Because you keep asking yourself, why is this always happening to me? Why is this always coming back? And I have to tell you that you have to go back. Because the only way is through. And I really wish for you to see how important it is for you to heal. Because I've been there. Believe me when I tell you I've been there and I've been through a lot. So I know what I'm talking about. There's nothing wrong with you. The world told you there's something wrong with you. You're either too loud, too noisy, you laugh too loud, you're too much, you shine too much, you take up space. But it's not true. Maybe the people around you couldn't handle you. They couldn't handle your light and your beauty and your boundaries, because they have been taught a totally different way. Maybe they have been taught to be quiet, to put their heads down. And then came you, beautiful, sassy girl who knows what she wanted, who took up space, who said what she thought, but you didn't fit in. So you have been told to dim your light. You have been told not to speak when you haven't been asked. You have been told to be no one, invisible. Because then you're safe. If people don't see you, you're safe. Or you're too much. But nothing of that is true. You are here to take up space. You are here to shine your light. The people around you didn't know how to handle you. Because they haven't been able to be who they wanted to be. Show me your family and I tell you who you are. And you know, if you're saying, okay, Babylonia, fair enough, sounds great, I really get what you're saying, but is it so important to heal? Yes, it is. Because there are so many women who are broken. We stay in relationships we don't want to stay in. We do things we don't want to do. We tolerate things from people. We tolerate situations from people when we know and we feel this isn't good for us. We tolerate things and we swallow things even though we know it's not right. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't sit right. But we keep tolerating shit because that's how we have seen it. That's how we have been told. And you know what's even more important? Whatever you're carrying right now didn't just start in your system. It started way before you were even born. Prenatal imprints, they call it. And something to think about. Before you were born, it took 400 years and 12 generations before you came to this world. And now just imagine all the traumas the 12 generations before you experienced are part of you because of prenatal imprints. We pass down trauma. We pass down pain. And now you have part of traumas and pains from 24 people within you. Pain within you, which isn't yours in the first place. The moment your mom and dad decided that they wanted a child, their mental and physical state already created your imprints. That was already your base. And now 12 people before them, or 11. So it's time to stop. It's time to stop their pain. It's time you take responsibility because maybe they weren't able to change. They weren't able to do things differently. They didn't have the resources to do. But you do. You live in a world where this is possible for you, where healing is possible for you. So when trauma can be passed down, guess what? Healing can also be passed down. And it's gonna stop with you. Because you're special. And you are here to make a difference. So if you start healing, you heal 7 generations before you. And now I'm talking to you from woman to woman. If you decide to heal, you do not only heal for you and your daughter or your niece or your sister, but you also heal all the women in your lineage before you who had hardships, who've been through hell, but couldn't say a thing or couldn't do a thing. And then there's you. You have the chance and the possibility and also the responsibility to heal for yourself and for all the women who went before you. This is really the greatest gift that you can give yourself. Because when you heal, you show other women that they get to heal as well. You give them permission to heal too. And this is what I wish for you. Because you're worth it. And believe me when I tell you, life gets so good when you heal. Is it easy? No. Is it always nice? No. Is it messy? Yes. But it's the best reward you ever get. Because you are worth it. You've been worth it all along. Trust yourself. And if you say, Babylonia, this is amazing. I want to work with you. I want to work on my pain, on my beliefs, on my trauma. Then you can do so either in the Rebirth Circle, in a group coaching, or in my Soft Rebellion as a one-to-one. I'm waiting for you. And I know it's time. And you know it's time. So please trust your intuition and your gut and take that step, whether it's with me or with somebody else. The world needs your healing. And it's time for you to shine your light and show the world who you truly are.